Welcome to Raaonline. I am Dr. Jay Kumar. Today I am going to take you through on the topic Eicosanoids, which comprises three important factors like prostaglandins, Thromboxane and Leukotrienes. Okay, so this prostaglandins is going to be very important because quite a few therapeutic uses for prostaglandins. So first, the competency here we are going to discuss is basically students should be able to list the different types and characteristic features of prostanoid receptors. So there are different types of receptors which we will be discussing, and three important things as I told you. So the first thing is we are going to discuss about the pharmacological actions, uses, adverse effects of prostaglandin analogs, and the second one is about the leukotriene receptor blockers, and the third one is the platelet activating factor. So these are the three most important things. So this is the outline I am going to take you through. First, a brief introduction about the eicosanoids, and a brief about the historical aspect, and the chemical structure of these prostaglandins, how it is derived, and finally the pharmacology of the prostanoids, leukotrienes and platelet activating factor. So first, coming to the introduction, eicosanoids, it means that eco means 20. So that means 20 carbon atom containing the mediators. So basically they play a role in the inflammation. For example, eicosanoids, if you see here, the prostaglandins, thromboxane A2, leukotrienes and platelet activating factor. These are the four important mediators which comes under the class eicosanoids. And if you take the prostanoids belong, the prostaglandins and thromboxane A2, they belong to the prostanoids. And the leukotrienes and platelet activating factor doesn't come into this, because the prostaglandins and the thromboxane A2 only, they are synthesized from the arachidonic acid pathway through COX enzyme. That is why they are called prostanoids. Whereas leukotrienes, it will take through the different pathway, that is lipoxygenase pathway, and forms the leukotrienes. So that is why under prostanoids only it comprises prostaglandins and thromboxane A2. Whereas if you say it is a eicosanoids, all the four things will include. And these eicosanoids or prostanoids, they are not stored like any other, like hormones. Sometimes the thyroid hormone they will synthesize and store, even some other mediators also can do like that. But these prostanoids, they are not stored but produced by a variety of stimulus, like physical, either it may be a physical stimuli or a chemical stimuli and hormonal stimuli. And they play a role in the inflammation. So this is the most major important thing of these prostaglandins and these leukotrienes. They play a major role in inflammation and the smooth muscle tone. To maintain, it regulates the smooth muscle tone. Either it may contract or relax, and it is responsible for the hemostasis and thrombosis, especially the thromboxane A2, which is responsible for platelet aggregation leading to thrombosis. And it is also playing a role in parturition. That is, either it can be used in the pregnancy at the time of delivery, induction of labor, like that parturition, it can be, some prostaglandins can be used. And of course, the GI secretion, especially the acid secretions. So like mucus secretion, all those things, it plays a role. Prostaglandins play a role. So these are some of the functions that the prostaglandins play a role in these systems. So coming to a brief about the history. In 1930, Kuzrock and Leib, they worked with this prostaglandin. That is, they obtained the human semen and they added that semen over the uterine myometrium, and they found some contraction of the myometrium of the uterus. And later on they found that the substance to be as maybe something which is producing the contraction of the uterus. And since it is obtained from the semen, which is almost the prostate gland, like that they identified, and they named it as a prostaglandin. So basically it is a misnomer. Okay, so they, based on that discovery, they named it as prostaglandin, and von Euler named it as this substance as a prostaglandin in 1935. Whereas in 1962, Samuelson and Bergstrom, they identified the structure of these prostaglandins, especially the E1 and F1 alpha. So they are responsible. And in 1964, Bergstrom and Van Dop, they synthesized this prostaglandin E2 from the arachidonic acid, which is obtained from the membrane phospholipids. I will just tell you about the synthesis of how these prostaglandins, leukotrienes, the pathway I will discuss in the further slides. And finally in 1971, when Smith and Willis, they found out that this aspirin and other NSAIDs, that is a non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs, they block the prostaglandin synthesis and produce its therapeutic effect. And for this purpose, the Bergstrom, Samuelson and J.R. Venn, they have been awarded the Nobel Prize in Medicine in the year 1982.